हेलो एंड वेलकम एवरीवन टू द डेली न्यूज एनालिसिस ऑफ 2 फरवरी 2024। तो आज के इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल वन बाय वन हिंदी न्यूज पेपर से देखते हैं। पहला जो आर्टिकल है पोप्ड ऑफ ऑलरेडी, पेज 1 का है। कमिटी विल स्टडी फास्ट पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ एंड डेमोग्राफिक चेंजेस अकॉर्डिंग टू फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर। Then net zero gain for job guarantee scheme, marginalized rise in allocation for farming fisheries, center moves 1 lakh crore corpus for R&D. Then government raises Lakpati Didi scheme target, new scheme for bio manufacturing, bio foundry on cards. Then 1 crore homes to get free power via solar panels, 3 economic rail corridors on the anvil. Udan hits an air pocket, 60% cut in budget allocation. Karnataka plans digital detox initiatives with game developers. Nimhans on Israel's obligation to prevent genocide. India increasing allocation for Maldives 400 crore revised to 770.9 crore. तो पहला आर्टिकल है पुप्ड ऑफ फूल्स रेडी। Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presenting her sixth union budget and her first interim on Thursday resisted the temptation to hand out dramatic pre-poll stops such as the ones unveiled ahead of the 2019 Lok Sabha election, opting instead to bank on the government's track record to promise of unprecedented development in the next 5 years, while broadly sticking to her assurance that this 24-25 budget would be a vote on account without speculator announcement. Mr. Sitharaman painted an elaborate picture of India's imperfect past prior to 2014, with the economy and governance needing serious mending. She then outlined how the India government, with a nation-first approach, has enabled the transition to a virtually perfect present. It is now appropriate to look at where we were then till 2014 and where we are now, only for the purpose of drawing lessons from the mismanagement of those years. Mrs. Sitharaman said, promising a white paper in the House on mess allegedly inherited by the Narendra Modi government and the economy subsequent resurgence to a path sustainable high growth. People are living better and earning better with even greater aspirations for the future. Average real income of the people has increased by 50%. Inflation is moderate, she said, though there were no tax breaks. Some immediate promises were made, including a scheme to enable the deserving urban middle class to buy or build their own homes, to more rural houses to be built in the next 5 years, and 300 units of free power a month for 1 crore households. Those rooftop solar solutions, as mooted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi after the Ram Mandir's consecrations last month. Finance Secretary TV Somnathan said the contours for the new housing schemes, which does not directly refer to urban households but hints at them by picking beneficiaries from slums or authorized colonies, will be finalized before funding the plan. Apart from a few such feel-good promises, the finance minister committed to work with states and stakeholders to implement next generation reforms in its next tenure. At the full budget in July, the government plans to present a detailed roadmap for its vision of a developed India by 2047, she said, and enunciating some guiding principle that will drive its approach. She also made it a point to emphasize that the government is committed to turning the eastern parts of India, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh into the growth engine of the economy in the coming Amrit Kal, a term used for the period leading up to 2047. Another plausible poll signal was the constitution of a high-powered panel to consider the challenges arising from past population growth and demographic changes. Although She paired queries on the internet on this move in her post-budget press conference terming social justice an effective and necessary governance paradigm. The minister argued that what was mostly a political slogan in the past has been achieved by this government, though a saturation approach of covering all eligible people to address systematic inequalities in society. This is secularism in actions, reduces corpus corruptions and prevents nepotism, she asserted, adding that the four major castes identified by the Prime Minister, the poor, women, youth, and farmers, would receive primary primacy in policy. There were no philosophers or poets quoted in her speech, which was about 25% shorter than the embellished the government's achievements. Instead, Mrs. Sitaraman invoked the PM's speeches and beliefs about a, about a dozen times before she wrapped up. While some hopes for measures to spur consumption and rural demand against the backdrop of a poor monsoon and poor production, private investments were dashed. Mrs. Sitaraman fiscal discipline surprised most economists who had expected this year's fiscal deficit target 5.9% of GDP to be breached. The finance minister not only revised the deficit estimate for this year to 5.8% of GDP but also committed to hit the 5.1% mark of 2014 24-25 with a firm eye on bringing the fiscal gap to or below 4.5% of the GDP in 25-26. Capital expenditure plans for coming years got a modest but assured 11.1% increase, rising to an ostensibly auspicious number of 11 crore 11,11,111 crore rupees and invest free capex loan to states were raised to 1.3 lakh crore, yet to gross and net borrowings planned in 24-25 have been lowered from this year's level to 14.13 lakh crore and 11.75 lakh crore respectively. Now that the private investments are happening at scale, the lower borrowings by the central government will facilitate larger availability of credit for the private sector. The finance minister hoped, marking a prudent return to the tradition of keeping interim budget low on profligacy and high on intent. Then next article, committee will study fast population growth and demographic changes according to finance minister. A high-power committee will be constituted to consider the challenges arising from fast population growth and demographic changes. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said in her interim budget speech on Friday. The finance minister said the committee will be mandated to make recommendations to comprehensive address these challenges in relations to the goal of Viksit Bharat or a developed India. The announcement comes against the backdrop of an indefinitely postponed the census, which means that there is little reliable data to back up her assertion of fast population growth in the country. The little data that exists suggests that the country's fertility rate is falling below replacement level despite the absence of sound statistics. Security concerns in border areas are also being highlighted on the basis of purported demographic changes. To a question from the Hindu on whether the committee was aimed at population stabilization and if it would be set in motion after the next census, Economic Affairs Secretary Ajay Seth said India's demographic are an opportunity as well as a challenge. The committee will look at those aspects and the final term of reference will reflect the focus. The minister's speech suggested there has been a fast population growth in the country through. Though there is no accurate data, the latest sample registration system SRS report for 2020 said that the total fertility rate or the average number of children born to a woman over her lifetime dropped to 2 from 2.1 in 2019. The National Family Health Survey NFHS 5 for 2019-21 released in May 2022 stated that the TFR deadline from the 2.222 at the national level in comparison to the last such survey held in 2015-16. NFHS 5 said that there were only 5 outlier states which had a TFR above the replacement level of 2.1%, Bihar 2.98, Meghalaya 2.91, Uttar Pradesh 2.35, Jharkhand 2.2526, Manipur 2.17. Sabu Matthew Judge, a girl child rights activist, says the NFHS data do not give a complete picture as its sample size is too low and the survey is spread over many years. SRS, which is released every year, gives us a better statistical picture than NFHS. Notably, SRS for the years 2020 was published in 2022. Mr. George said at the Annual Directorate General of Police Conference in 21, police officers from Uttar Pradesh and Assam submitted a research paper flagging concerns about demographic changes in districts along the international border with Nepal and Bangladesh. They highlighted an increase in the number of mosques and seminaries as well as a high decadal growth in population in these areas. The next article है net zero gain for job guarantee scheme. With the allocation of 86,000 crore rupees for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme MGNREGS, the budget for the scheme for the financial year 24-25 has been hiked by 26,000 crore in comparison with the 23-24 budget estimates, though it is the same as the revised estimate for the ongoing financial year 23-24. So the net gain for the rural employment scheme could be zero or even negative. As per the statistics available on Union Rural Development Ministry website, the total expenditure on the program so far has been 88,309.72 crore rupees. According to some estimates, as on February 1, the center owes 16,000 crore in wages to the state governments. The government has argued that MGNREGS is a dynamic scheme and the dues are cycling paid, but for the last 2 years, the center has halted the program in West Bengal, claiming corruptions in implementation of the schemes. The center owes almost 7,000 crore to the states. The 24 budget through though breaks the continued trend of slashing the budget for the program. In the 23 budget, only 60,000 crore rupees was allocated, which was 18% lower than 73,000 crore rupees budget estimates and 33% lower than the 89,000 crore revised estimates for financial year 23-24 for the scheme. Allocation falls short, but activists and academics said the allocation still fell way short of the sum required for efficient implementation of the program. Matching the revised estimates is a tactic acknowledgement of rural distress, but it takes no steps to alleviate it. Simple calculation points out that considering 5.6 crore households are registered under the program, this sum can provide for 25 to 30 days at most of work in a year. Rajendra Narayanan, professor at the Azim Premji University, said the allocation furthers the trend of spending 15 to 20% of the budget clearing the past dues. In the present case, this includes 7,000 crore rupees owed to the West Bengal government to meet the employment needs of registered household under MGNREGS. A crucial 3 lakh crore rupees is essential. However, the allocated budget falls significantly short at a mere say 86,000 crore rupees, considering outstanding dues in West Bengal that needs clearing and the additional work requirement for the workers in the state this year, coupled with the historical trend of 15 to 20% of the budget being spent on clearing past dues, the allocation seems increasingly inadequate. This shortfall raises serious concerns as it only It not only jeopardizes the guarantees right to work under MGNREGS but also constitutes a gross violation of this fundamental entitlement. Chakradhar Buddha, who is affiliated with Live Tech India, a consortium of academics and activists, said. नेक्स्ट जो तीन आर्टिकल है एक फर्स्ट वन मार्जिनलाइज राइज इन एलोकेशन फॉर फार्मिंग फिशरीज सेंटर मोड्स 1 लाख crore corpus for R&D गवर्नमेंट रेजेस लखपति दीदी स्कीम टारगेट maintaining that the Annadatta's welfare is the highest priority of the center's Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said in her budget. Farmers' employment and well-being will drive India forward. The allocation for the Agriculture Ministry is 1,17,528.79 crore rupees, a rise of 1997 crore rupees when the compared with the previous budget. The allocation for the ministry in revised estimates was 1,16,788.96 crore, while the actual expenditure in 22-23 was 99,877.01 crore rupees. While schemes like Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana saw an increase in allocation, the location under the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi remained the same at 60,000 crore rupees. The Kisan Samman Dhan PM Kisan Man Dhan Yojana, however, saw a decrease in allocation for agricultural research. The allocation is 9 lakh 9,941 crore point 109 crore rupees. Mr. Sitaraman said directly financial assistance is provided to 11.8 crore farmers, including marginal and small farmers under the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. Crop insurance is given to 4 crore farmers under PM Fasal Bima Yojana. The ministry said a comprehensive program for supporting dairy farmers will be formulated. Efforts are already on the control foot and mouth disease, she said, adding the program will be built on the success of existing schemes, including the Rashtriya Gokul Mission, National Livestock Mission, and Infrastructure Development Funds for Dairy Processing and Animal Husbandry. The ministry received an allocation of 4,500 21.24 crore rupees, an increase of almost 200 crore rupees when compared with the previous budget. The minister said a separate department for fisheries has resulted in the doubling of both inland and aquatic productions. The budget, however, was silent on guaranteed minimum support prices based on the MS Swaminathan Committee's formula. Then center moves 1 lakh crore corpus for R&D, signaling a commitment to research and innovation for India's tech-savvy youth. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, in her interim budget speech on Thursday, mentioned a corpus of 1 lakh crore rupees that would be available on minimal or nil interest rate to encourage the private sector to invest in research and development in sunrise sector. It was not clear in this corpus was if this corpus was targeted at a specific ministry or intended as a more broad-based encouragement to research. Experts said that while it was a welcome development, it remained to be seen how the scheme would be implemented. There are many possibilities at this juncture, but I am not aware of any specific decision or beneficiaries or implementation and the ministries which will be involved. However, it is very good as it envisages both the public and private sector to invest in research and development. BK Saraswat, the member Niti Aayog Science and Technology, told the Hindu among the significant steps taken by the Science Ministry in 23 was clearing the National Research Foundation bill to be piloted by the Department of Science and Technology DST. This envisages an autonomous body with a corpus of 50,000 crore rupees, of which nearly 36,000 crore rupees will come from the private sector and non-governmental sources. A major long-standing concern of the government has been in getting private sector enterprises to invest in crore R&D in core R&D, with nearly three-fourths of such expense have now borne by the government. The DST has a provisioned 2,000 crore rupees in 24-25 towards the NRF, the National Quantum Missions. A much talked about schemes of DST has for the first time been provisionalized provisioned a 2,819 crore rupees. Mrs. Setharaman mentioned this again without details. A new scheme will be launched for strengthening deep tech technology for defense purpose and expecting Atmanirbhar Atmanirbharta. Comment raises Lakshpati Didi scheme target. By its success, the center has decided to increase the target for Lakshpati Didi scheme, which aims to train women self-help groups to earn a sustainable income of at least 1 lakh per annum by setting up micro enterprises within their villages. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman filed presenting the interim budget for 24-25 said the target for training Lakshpati Didi would be increased from the existing 2 crore to 3 crore 83 lakh self-help groups with 9 crore women are transforming rural socio-economic landscape with empowerment and self-reliance. Their success has assisted nearly 1 crore women to become Lakshpati Didi. Already, Mrs. Sitaraman said she said that there will be also be expedition of the upgradation of Anganwadi centers under the Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0 scheme for improved nutrition delivery, early childhood care and development. Accordingly, the Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0 programs saw the highest allocation of funds at 21,200 crore rupees, followed by the Mission Shakti, which has been given 3,145.97 crore rupees. The total allocation for the Women and Child Development Ministry for the 24-25 is 26,000 crore rupees, a marginal increase of 2.52% from the previous year budget. The next article is new schemes for biomanufacturing biofoundry on cards. In her interim budget speech, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman spoke of a new scheme of biomanufacturing and biofoundry to provide environment-friendly alternatives such as biodegradable polymers, bioplastics, biopharmaceuticals, and bioagri inputs. The announcement is part of a bid to have the bioeconomy contribute to $300 billion to Indian economy by 2030, representing a jump of about 18 lakh crore in value from current levels and 1 trillion by 2047. The product the product of bioeconomy also play key role in the India's sustainability and green economic target. The way of skills India's bioscience sector is to put money into biomanufacturing and not only prioritize research and Sambhavi Naik said Sambhavi Naik, a researcher at the Takshashila institutions in 24-25 budget. The total allocation for the Department of Biotechnology has been cut by 16% to 2,251.52 crore rupees, potentially slowing its recovery from its highs of COVID-19 pandemic when it helped develop vaccines to prevent pandemic levels. The biotechnology industry Research Assistance Council BIRAC, a public sector enterprise under the DBT that interfaces between academia and industry, has been allocated 14 crore as in 23-24. Even though its actual expenditure was higher, the new bio manufacturing schemes will also help in transferring to today's conservative manufacturing paradigm to one based on regenerative principles. Mrs. Sitaraman added, apart from the Fox connections that increased supply will change consumption, the initiative is much needed, Mrs. Naik said. The next article है 1 crore homes to get free power via solar panel. Taking a Q from Prime Minister Narendra Modi assurance following the Ayodhya temple consecrations that 1 crore household will be electrified by rooftop solar installations. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in her interim budget reiterated that commitment. Though rooftop solarization, 1 crore household will be enabled to obtain up to 300 units of free electricity every month. This would translate to benefits of 15,000 to 18,000 annually for household from the free solar electricity and selling of the surplus to the distribution companies, she said in her address. The average all India household consumption of electricity is about 100 on its a month, say public data. The net metering policy allows users of rooftop solar power to supply their surplus power back to the grid, the offers offsetting their electricity bills. Whether the government would fund new installations or only subsidize those installing new ones, the latter has been a practice for years, and demographics that the scheme was targeting was not specified in MS Sitaraman address. Last year, the government spent 2,167 crore rupees on its rooftop solar power program, and for 24-25 it has a budgeted 4,550 crore rupees according to the budget documents updated on Thursday. At present, India has about 11 gigawatt of installed rooftop solar capacity, of which only 2.7 gigawatt is in the residential unit and the rest in commercial and or industrial spaces. There is no centralized national estimates of how many of India's estimate 30 crore households have rooftop solar units, the Hindu reported last month, citing estimates from experts. It is unlikely to be over 10 lakh. Ne- Neeraj Kuldeep, senior program lead CWEW, said in a statement on the Thursday that 2025 gigawatt worth of rooftop solar panel capacity could be supported through solarization of 1 crore household. Residential consumers receive subsidized electricity from distribution companies, and if such households were to be solarized, it would save discoms about 2 lakh crore rupees over the next 25 years. The solar panel plant's life, all the states can leverage that. All the states can leverage this opportunity as rooftop solar potential exists everywhere, he added. Offshore wind. Mrs. Sitharaman also announced a viability gap funding to support the capital intensive offshore wind sector, and up to 1 gigawatt capacity. These are wind farms located in the sea, though no details or budgetary allocation were announced. It is expected to encourage private sector investment in sectors. The next article है three economic rail corridor to on the anvil. With a thrust on investment in infrastructure, the Union Minister of Railways has been allocated 2.55 lakh crore rupees for the financial year 24-25, up by 5.8% from the last year's allocation of 2.41 lakh crore rupees. Union Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that up to 82% of last year's allocation had been spent by the end of January. The budget document says the Railway Ministry could only utilize 1.6 lakh crore rupees based on the actual numbers released for 22-23. She said the revised operating ratio for 23-24 was 98.7%, which is the ratio of working expenses to traffic earnings. Expenditures, all expenditures for pensions is being borne from railway revenue, he added. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the center will implement three major economic corridor of program: energy minimal and cement corridor also being referred to as Energy Economic Corridor, Port Connectivity Corridor, aka Rail Sagar, and High Traffic Density Corridor, aka Amrit Chaturbhuj, a total of 434 projects with an investment of 11 lakh crore will be ruled out under these programs. He said an integrated approach of railway planning has been undertaken by consulting 18 ministries, and this plan has been 2 years. We are in the process of preparing detailed project reports, freezing final alignment, and interacting with state government for the smooth working of the development along these corridors. He said the response to questions by the Hindu, they have been planned along the lines of PM Gati Shakti frameworks by tracking the origin and destination nodes of the railways. This allows us to understand where we need to add a railway stations, which areas require doubling or multi-tracking of roads, which where we need rail flyovers, or where we need to deploy new lines. For instance, how do we better manage passenger flow from Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha towards Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Bengaluru, or how do we manage large transport origin from Nasik? He said over the next 5 years, it is planning to overhaul 40,000 coaches to provide a better passenger experience similar to that of Vande Bharat trains. The entire exercise is expected to cost 15,200 crore rupees. Good quality toilets, better safety standards like installing semi-permanent coupling features like presence of charging points, automatic water management measurement system for filling of tanks, installation of GPS and CCTV cameras will be added features in upgraded coaches. He said notably budget allocation for investment in public sector units and joint venture decreased from 34,353 crore rupees in 23-24 to 31,107 crore in 24-25. Experts say this is because the railways is interested in opening up the market to private players. The bullet train project by National High Speed Rail Corridor has attracted the maximum chunk of allocation of from 19,592 crore to 25,000 crore rupees. The next article is Udan hits an air pocket 60% cut in budget allocation. एंड सेकंड का है कर्नाटका Karnataka plans digital detox initiative with games developers Nimhans. Nimhans. The budgetary allocation for the regional connectivity scheme Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagarik has been slashed by 60% after the record high grant. Last times the fund is spent on reviving unused and underused airports in tier 2 tier 3 cities. The center has set aside 502 crore rupees for the scheme compared with the previous budget estimates of 1244 crore rupees, which was also the highest ever allocation for the scheme since its launch in 2017. The allocation in the interim budget marks a 40% drop from the revised estimates of 850 crore rupees for this fiscal year. Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister, in her speech on Thursday, said the number of airports in the country had doubled 149 since 2014, and the expansion of existing airports and development of new airports will continue expeditiously. At a time, Indian Airlines have placed an order of more than 1,000 aircrafts. However, this was not supported by allocation in budget as a whole. The Civil Aviation Ministry was allocated 2,300 crore rupees, which is 26% drop from the previous year budget estimates. Traditionally, the largest chunks of allocation from the aviation sector has gone to airlines, which continues even after its privatization through a though to a much smaller extent, with 1158 crore set aside from the airlines as the government has to service the interest on on some the remaining debt. Air India debt at depth of 29,464 crore was hyped off from the airline at the time of disinvestment and parked in a special purpose vehicle. Air India Assets Holding Limited, along with real estate assets, a part of this debt has since been cleared. A sum of 57 crore rupees has been set aside for the production-linked incentives schemes for drone and drone components, compared with 33 crore rupees in this fiscal budget estimates and revised estimates. Then Karnataka plans digital detox initiative with game developers Nimhans. The Karnataka government on Thursday said it would launch a digital detox initiatives in collaboration with the All India Game Developer Forum AIDGDF, with special emphasis on gaming and social media. The aim is to spread awareness about the ills of spending too much time in the digital world and instead create a environment of responsible gaming. Minister for Information Technology Biotechnology Priyanka Kharge, speaking at the valedictory function of GAFX 2024, he said the digital detox initiative is yet another step towards fulfilling this government commitment and of building a digitally empowered Karnataka through responsible use of technology. Toll on mental health, observing that mental health issues is shrinking at attention spans and fraying real world relationship are the outcomes of the digital dependence. The minister said that technology had woven itself firmly into the fabric of everyone's lives and bring being glued to screens has become the norms in this hyper-connected age. This initiative will enable an environment of meaningful and constructive use of technology while minimizing its adverse effects. He assured the government of Karnataka will work with AIGDF and the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences and enhance to raise awareness about mindful technology. Though through this initiative, both online and offline digital detox center will be set up across the state of Karnataka, which will offer personalized guidelines where trained professionals will provide counseling and support to individuals seeking to navigate their relationship with technology and official related said. Then next statistically, India is increasing allocation for Maldives 400 crore revised to 770.9 crore rupees. India's neighborhood received a substantial share of the annual allocation for the Ministry of External Affairs in the interim budget presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday. Out of all the countries in the neighborhood, Bhutan has received 2,398.97 crore as allocation for the current fiscal year, while Nepal has come second with 650 crore for various development projects currently underway in the Himalayan country. For 24-25, Nepal has received an allocation of 700 crore rupees. The Maldives, which has been in the news recently because of anti-India protest and remarks from its top leaders, has seen a substantial bump in allocations. The allocation for Maldives for 23-24 was 400 crore, which went up to 770.9 crore in this time. This indicates that India is increasing investment in the archipelago nations. Indian projects in Bangladesh under the current fiscal will receive 130 crore rupees. A sum of 220 crore rupees has been allocated for the Afghanistan, which is governed by the Taliban, that is yet to find official recognition from India. Sri Lanka will receive 60 crore rupees for allocations for the current fiscal conflict stock. Myanmar has received 370 crore rupees in the current fiscal India island nations. Among the island nations of the Indian Oceans, the Seychelles and Mauritius have received 9.91 crore rupees and 370 crore rupees respectively in current fiscal. The port of Charbahar in Iran will receive 100 crore as funding. A sum of 3,849 crore has been allocated for line of credit under the Indian Development and Economic Assistance Scheme, reflecting India's growing engagement with African nations. The budget has allocated 200 crore for the African development projects. The figure is as per revised estimate for the current fiscal. The next article is allocation for social justice and tribal affairs ministries sees a marginal increase. The interim budget presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman for the financial year 24-25 on Thursday left the allocations for the social justice and tribal affairs ministries largely unchanged with marginal increase seen in the estimated allocations for both ministries compared with the 23-24 budget estimates, while 14,225 crore has been set aside for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Of 13,000 crore has been allocated for the Ministry of Tribal Affairs for the next fiscal year. So this comes even though the revised estimate for the 23-24 saw expenditure reduced by 38% and 23% for the Tribal Affairs Ministry and Social Justice Ministry respectively from the allocation side set aside in the budget estimates. The Social Justice Ministry was able to spend only some small percentage of the amounts is set aside for the key schemes such as the seed schemes for denotified and Namaste scheme as per the revised estimates. Similarly, the Tribal Affairs Ministry fell short in the spending on its flagship project of Eklavya Model Residential School (EMRS) and on transports to states under the PM Adarsh Gram Yojana. Despite this, government has prioritized spending on these schemes for the next financial year. For instance, the Social Justice Department has increased the allocation under the Namaste schemes to 116.94 crore rupees. As for the Tribal Affairs Ministry on its flagship EMRS project, the ministry has set aside 16,399 crore rupees to be sent over the next fiscal. The PM Janman program targeted towards particularly vulnerable tribal groups saw an allocation of 240 crore rupees under the transport to states head within with its 25 crore allocation for the central sector component of its under the tribal ministry. Apart from this, 1600 crore rupees has been set aside to be disbursed as grants under the Article 275 Clause 1 of the Constitution for the welfare of the scheduled tribes. So friends, this is all for today, and we will meet from tomorrow onwards with new news articles from the Hindu, which are relevant from UPSC perspective. So till then, keep studying and thank you for listening. Have a good day.